Today is Monday, May 6th, 2019. My name is Maura Feeney, local history librarian of the Montauk Library, and I am sitting here with Joel Piereth, a Montauk resident for over 50 years, who first fished in Montauk as a child. This interview is part of the Montauk Library's Oral History Program. Okay, so Joel.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your full name?
Full name, or if you want the whole works, is Joel Francis Paul Piereth.
Okay, and were you named after anybody?
That has sort of in the family been a minor controversy, and the reason I say that is that you got to go back into the history of my mom and dad. My dad's name was Joseph. My mom's name was Eleanor.
Okay.
When they were courting, they had a canoe, aptly called the Joel, with a hyphen. If you notice, my name doesn't have a hyphen. Perhaps that's where it came from. We're never really sure. If you go back into your biblical history, the name Joel is one of the minor prophets in the Old Testament. I couldn't tell you what it's going to happen in an hour from now, so I'm not a prophet. So I'm going to guess. I kind of like the story about being named after a canoe. It always gets, somebody's smiling or get a grin from somebody. So that's where I think it came from.
That's a great answer. Do you have any siblings?
I have a sister who's an only child. That's another family joke.
Explain, please.
No. We always kidded when we were both growing up. I'm about 4 years older than she is, and we always kidded that she got the new bike, she got the new this, she got the new that, she got the dance lessons, singing lessons, and thank God my dad was a handy fella, and he would find bike parts, put them together, and that was my bike, and that was about it. And the joke was, of course, my sister's an only child. If she gets to see this, I'll probably, she'll probably never speak to me again, but who knows?
When were you born, and when was your sister born?
Okay, I was born in 1937, in September, and my sister was born in December of 1940, I believe.
Okay. And where were you born?
Back in Flushing, Queens. College
Queens.
Point. We were born and raised basically in College Point, but I'm guessing, I was kind of young when I was born. I couldn't see the name on the door, so I'm guessing it was in the hospital, which would have been Flushing Hospital.
Okay. What was your home like, where you grew up?
Well, when I was a kid, I think being born in 37, it was just prior to the big war. We lived in a house, I think, on 14th Avenue for a while. Then we moved to another house. We moved to my grandfather's house, as a matter of fact, a few blocks away. It was a nice two-family house. And I enjoyed it as a kid. We had a big backyard. Then, of course, the war started. My grandfather was a part farmer, having had a farm upstate, along with my uncle. And we had a great big victory garden, that's what they were called in those days.
Right.
All kinds of vegetables and good times. He had a big apple orchard on the farm. One of the things that always impressed me, one of the things that's really interested me in the house, down in the basement we had an apple press. Oh. And that was used for a number of purposes. During Prohibition, I'm quite sure it was used to press apples to turn into cider, and then they would add raisins and let them ferment. The sugar would then turn into alcohol, and you had a little happy drink called Applejack, which, of course, I guess the revenuers didn't worry about that much. But it was a nice house, friendly. As I said, my mom and dad lived downstairs. We lived upstairs.
Okay.
And it was very nice. I lost my mom's mother early. I had very little recollection of her. My grandfather, yes, I knew quite well because of his the farms upstate.
Exactly where? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Yeah. Exactly where was the farm? Can you describe it?
I can. I can probably, if I had to, I could probably draw you a picture of it. And it's been many years since I've been there. But it was between Ellenmiddle and Kingston, a little town called Kerhonkson.
How do you spell that?
K-E-R, I think H-O-N. S-O-N. That sounds close.
Yes.
Yeah. But it was very nice. You had to climb up over the mountains to get there. It sounded like it would take you days to get there, but it didn't. It was maybe about a 2.5-3 hour ride from the city. and that was in a 1933 Dodge.
Was that
And-
your grandfather's car? Or your
No,
father's?
my mom and dad.
Oh, okay.
Because we used to spend a couple of weeks every summer on the farm. We certainly made it a point to get up there for Thanksgiving. And the thing that always amazed me is that it could be almost springtime in the city or on Long Island, and without fail, there was always a coating of snow up on the farm, which made it nice because before Thanksgiving dinner, we'd all go out for a big walk in the woods. You could see the deer tracks in the snow, and we would upset a whole lot of people who were out there hunting.
Oh,
But one
okay.
thing we were not quiet, you know. And of course, the hunters didn't appreciate that. Luckily, we didn't get shot.
Well, where was your actual schooling? Was it in Flushing?
It was at College Point. My
In
first
College Point,
first school was St. Fidelis Parochial, taught by the Dominican nuns,
Okay.
who I think there are probably about 3 left in the world.
Definitely diminishing.
And then I started, let's see, high school was, first of all, Thomas Edison Vocational High in Jamaica, and then I went from there to Powell Memorial Academy in the city.
Okay. What is your earliest childhood memory, would you say?
I guess it would be hanging out with my grandfather,
Okay.
both grandfathers. My dad's dad had a boat, so I mean that's where my love of water came from.
Right, okay.
I've seen pictures in the old family albums of me, him, and a little toy Boston bull sitting in the back of his boat, the Nomad, and that was always a great time for me. My mom's dad, we used to sit and we go for little walks, and it was unbelievable. He was the uncanny ability to find coin.
You mean like dropped coins?
Well, after a while, I got the idea that he was dropping the coins. You know, I think he had a pocket with a little hole in it, and he was. Then he'd say, "Hey, look at that, Butch," you know, and that was fun. And then sitting at night during a thunderstorm in the summer, and learning never to be afraid of thunder and lightning. Respect it, but never be afraid of it, because according to him, it was the angels bowling. You know, and from that day on, I never worried about a storm. I would go out of my way to watch one, or to be as close to one as I possibly could. And even as a kid with hurricanes, back in Queens, at that point, my dad had his own boat, and we had a little place called the Arrow Yacht Club in College Point. And I loved to go down there at the height of the storm, and watching the waves crashing against the buildings and stuff like that. But that was fun times.
Did your father share any memories with you of the 1938 hurricane?
I read about it, I heard about it, but for some reason there were problems even in College Point with the storm itself, because the way I understand the stories, water had backed up into Flushing Bay, which is the body of water between College Point and where LaGuardia Airport is today. And a lot of streets were flooded. There was a bus that was trapped somewhere, and I think there may have been a loss of life. I'm not sure. But they didn't talk too much about it. So, I mean, maybe... and again, it scared the living heck out of everybody because nobody knew it was coming. It was just one of those crazy things,
yeah,
you know.
Exactly.
Even out here, if you recall, if you ever read the articles that Dan has in the paper around the anniversary time of the storm of '38.
Yes.
He sort of states that, you know, it came as a total surprise. Somebody who had a hardware store was going to throw away a whole bunch of barometers because the readings on all the barometers were so low they couldn't believe that the barometers were correct, and yet they were. So, I mean, although we knew about it after the fact, you know, and of course the destruction out here was tremendous. Not a lot of destruction back west,
Right.
but most of it was out here.
Yeah, I feel like west seems like Hurricane Sandy was.
That was the worst I think that ever happened.
Yeah,
yes.
in that area.
And it seems to me that the cities just weren't prepared for it. I remember seeing the pictures on TV of the water rushing down into tunnels and into subway stations.
Shocking.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah. Well, with the love of boats and your father's boat, he he must have gone boating around Queens, but also I think this is when you started to come out to Montauk.
Yeah, well, my mom and dad used to spend a lot of time on the boat. Matter of fact, they would love to just take off up the Hudson.
Oh,
Go through the
okay.
locks and the canals all the way up as
Hudson.
far as
Wow.
the Erie Barge Canal would take them.
Wow.
On the other hand, I always enjoyed fishing, and this is around maybe the late or mid 50s at that point. And I on a blind date, that's how I met my first wife. And her dad was a fisherman, and he was a cop. He worked shifts, so he used to come out here odd times of the day, so to speak, to fish. And he took me along a couple of times, and that's where I really fell in love with the fishing out here.
What was your wife's name and what was her father's name?
He was dead. No, I'm just kidding. His name was Fred, okay? And my first wife's name was Alice Marie. Which is kind of odd. I must be hooked on some sort of names like that because my current wife, after my first wife passed away, is Nancy Marie. So it's got to be the Marie hook, you know.
Yeah.
And I think he was originally born in the Bronx, and we always kidded that once the ferry stopped running from Clawson Point in the Bronx, and they built the Whitestone Bridge, that's when he came to Queens. Before that, he didn't like, taking a ride across.
Too difficult.
Exactly.
Yeah. What was his last name?
His name was Lascar, Lascar.
Okay, Lascar.
Yeah.
So once you began to fish in Montauk, can you describe how you eventually made your way to establishing a residence here?
It went way back. My wife, of course, my first wife, Alice, and the kids loved the water. We'd come out here, rent a little cottage on Ditch Plain Road. At the time, it would be for a week at a clip, and then as a couple of years progressed, we would stay out here for 2 weeks. I was very lucky in my job with the Postal Service that I could save my vacation and at some points take as much as 3 weeks at a clip. They got to like it. We started renting a little place in what is now the mobile home park.
Okay.
And when we realized that it wasn't that expensive, we wound up buying a place, and that's how we sort of got our toehold into Montauk itself. Never regretted it.
How did you start? Where did you start first in the post office?
Back in Queens, back in Flushing.
Queens?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
And what was the course that you took to eventually end up in the Montauk post office?
Well, what we did I started in the Postal Service in the late 50s. Took a number of exams for promotion. Became a supervisor. Also, I wound up, as I said, one time going out to the University of Oklahoma for further training. And after a while, though, it began to get a little crazy and hectic back west.
What exactly how?
A lot of politics and stuff like that really I didn't like to have to deal with. And eventually, when I heard that there were some vacancies out at this end of the island, I said, well, what I wound up by doing was applying for a transfer. I had to take, in the beginning, a tremendous cut in pay because I had to go back into the craft, from management back into the craft work. And my first duty station was Sag Harbor.
Which year was that?
1980.
1980.
Yeah.
Okay.
And after about 4 years or so, there was a vacancy here at the Montauk Post Office for its assistant supervisor or assistant postmaster. And I applied for that and got the job. And stayed there until 1992.
When you retired?
Sadly lost my wife in 91. Okay. And as life would have it, things worked out beautifully for me. And that doesn't sound nice, talking about losing my wife. But the age came at the right time. Years of service came at the right time. And 1992, the Postal Service was looking to offload what they called heavy hitters. I guess maybe they consider me a heavy hitter.
Because you were a supervisor?
Not really, yeah, not really, but but I took advantage of it. Got a nice end of service benefit bonus, and walked out of there on September the 30th. Never looked back, and here I am.
What was it like to work in the post office back in the 70s and 80s? And
people had what I would have to term an attitude that they felt fulfilled in doing what they were doing. For years, until 1970, when they had the very first postal strike, our salaries were governed by Congress.
Okay.
In other words, we couldn't go to the boss or what have you, or whoever might be in charge, and say to him, hey, I'm a good guy. I could use a little more money. That didn't work that way. There was a certain, well, in all civil service, you got steps and levels and what have you. But the final arbiter of what we made was governed by the Congress. When they finally went on strike back in and it wasn't nationwide. That was the funny part. There were so many people, and again, I'm just going to go back and digress for a moment. My time out in Oklahoma, where they gathered people from all over the country to take these courses, as I did. And the
Were
people,
they management courses?
they were management. We were taught. Our job was to become an instructor for management.
Oh,
Our job was to
okay.
go back to from whence we came and teach all the new skills, management skills,
Oh, okay.
which rankled some people. They didn't like, especially if you're up here and I'm down here, but I'm telling you what you should be doing. It wasn't always taken with a kind thought. But the good part is that people that I ran into out there marveled at the fact that you guys, y'all went on strike. Thank you very much. Now, this is from some guy in Mississippi who lives in a parish, not a county, who is making probably more money in the Postal Service than his mayor or his chief of police. And here, since salaries in the Postal Service are nationwide, when we settled the strike out here in let's say, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, Philadelphia, Chicago, San Francisco, the big ones went out. They were just overjoyed.
Yeah.
And now they're making even more money than the mayor and the chief of police maybe together. So they couldn't quite fathom why we did what we did, but they were very happy that we did it.
What was it like to work in the Montauk Post Office back around 1980?
Not bad at all. You got to know everybody. People, were friendly. Not so much as is today. With the problems that the Postal Service is having, number one, in attracting, please don't get me wrong, the people who work at the post office right now are good people. They're trying their darndest. They're overwhelmed because of Amazon. There's just too much for them to do. On the other hand, and I can't say this for a fact, but I'm going to guess that the big boys who are running the Postal Service on Long Island are not looking to spend a whole lot of money. They're trying to get as much done for as little as they humanly can. And this falls upon the employees to try to ease this burden on each other. But they just recently went through a string of retirements and transfers of people who have been there for years. They're breaking in basically brand new people who don't know the area, don't know the people. And it was a rare thing when I ran the place down here in Montauk to have somebody come in and berate one of my clerks. Because let's face it, the poor clerk behind the window, as let's say Bruce or Jeannie or whoever is down here now, they're the first person you see. So who do you take your ire out on? First person you see.
Right, exactly.
Although they have nothing to do with that piece of mail that you were expecting gets delivered to the next box or the next house or some silly thing. They have nothing to do with it, but yet they take the brunt, undeservedly. But slowly but surely, it's coming around. It'll get better, I'm sure.
Do you think the computerization of the whole system has caused a lot of problems?
What it's done, basically, it's reduced the workforce. The reason I say that is that when I first went to work down here at the Montauk Post Office, John Coco, who was the PM, the postmaster, and myself as his assistant, we did a lot of things that perhaps they don't do further up island. If one of our carriers didn't make it, one of us would fill in on the route.
Oh, okay.
And in those days there, you set the entire route up. You had these trays and trays of mail, and you took each piece and you put it into a slot on the route progression. Nowadays, you don't do that anymore. It all comes to you already pre-sorted and ready to roll. It comes in trays. the carrier now takes the tray. This is tray number one. Okay, tray number one goes from I'm going to say Coolidge to Eisenhower Street. Mm-hmm. He doesn't really handle anything except maybe packages.
Okay.
You know, so his familiarity with the people on the route is gone.
It's gone.
We could, after a short spell doing this kind of work, you could practically set up an entire route without looking at a house number, just by name.
Right.
You knew everybody on that route. You knew where they were, and you could set it up that way. You can't do that now. So I mean, there are times when I see a carrier delivering where we live, and they seem confused, and I'll go over, you know, big mouth, dopey, you know, I used to do this. And can I help you? Well, yeah, I'm looking for so-and-so. Oh, well, so-and-so lives around the corner. And you try to explain how the delivery system is set up where we live in the mobile home park. And you try to help wherever you can.
Sure.
Yeah, you don't like to make it that they're incompetent. Well,
No,
they're not.
right.
They're learning.
Right,
you know?
exactly.
And if people would realize that a little bit, trouble is though, more than once so far, the Montauk Post Office has gotten its name in the paper. not for great things. You know, that's the sad part. No one remembers the good things you
The
do.
good things,
You
yeah.
do one bad thing, and that's never forgotten.
What was it like to? I think you mentioned to me that you had actually camped in Ditch Plain when you were a child, or when you went.
No,
with
not
your,
when I was
or when you were with your
kid. No,
father?
it was. If you go back into the history of the park down there, that was a campground in the very, very beginning. It was bought by a couple of people. There were three owners, who then decided to develop it into a mobile home park.
Okay.
But when I first got there, when Alice and I bought our place, was the very early 70s, we still had people who would come with travel trailers. People had converted Greyhound buses into campers.
Ooh, okay.
We used to have what they called it's a type of trail that you tow. It's an Airstream. We used to have Airstream conventions. They would come out, you know,
At Ditch Plain?
down on the property at the end of Ditch Plain, and they would have a big tent. And they would invite everybody. These were the kind of people that you had back in those days.
Right.
Nowadays, most of those campgrounds are what they call KOAs, Campgrounds of America. We no longer take transients, although we used to take transients years ago, but not anymore. Once they developed it basically into a full-time mobile home park, the mobile part sort of got lost in the shuffle somewhere, and these are all basically permanent dwellings. You can't move them.
Do you have like your own organization there, like your own government sort of?
We have a board of managers.
Okay.
We have sort of like the Hatfields and the McCoys. And the reason I say that is that you've got what we used to call the haves and the have-nots. You have the owners, who are the people who way back then, when the place fell into receivership, the people who owned it went bankrupt.
When was that?
Back in 1973. Matter of fact, I think we only owned our place a very short time when we got a word and notification that we now had to pay our maintenance fees or our rental fees to a receiver.
Oh.
Which came as a hell of a shock. Here we are with, and at that time it was basically a summer residence for us. But I had nightmares. I'd wake up screaming almost at night, wondering what am I going to do? I can't put a 50-foot mobile home in my driveway back in Queens. It ain't going to work. You know. So a whole bunch of us got together, and we wound up by finding out what it would cost us to buy the mortgages.
Oh.
And 152 of us got together, and we raised a little over $800 and some odd thousand.
Wow.
And if you ever read it or you see it on TV once in a while, on the courthouse steps in East Hampton, going once, going twice, for the third and last time, sold to the group from the trailer park.
That's great.
And that's how we. And then we had to raise more money as we went along, because we had to put in all. Back then the roads were all dirt. All the wiring was above ground. The big joke was if I wanted to watch my TV, I would tell my next door neighbor, please don't try to make a piece of toast because you're going to take all the electricity and I won't be able to see my TV set. And it finally got to the point where everything got put underground, and the place is what it is right now. if you can imagine something that would be termed a trailer that is advertised for like $1.2 million, and people are almost batting the doors down to bid on it or buy it. You know, it's become frightening.
How many trailers are there? I know you mentioned originally
We have
152.
about 200. We have 152 owned sites,
Okay.
and approximately 48 or 49 leased sites.
Oh, okay.
And just to go back to that the haves and the have-nots, and I'll probably get in trouble. Please don't pick at me. don't erect a burning anything anywhere. But the owners are only, and the reason that it is as attractive as it is, what the owners are paying is a pittance when you consider that most of the lessees are paying almost $1,500 a month.
Okay.
Now, that wouldn't be a bad deal, and here I'll probably get in trouble again. But if the park supplied the unit for $1,500 a month, that's not a bad deal.
No, it's good.
You know, it's not bad at all. Hey, something goes wrong with your refrigerator, or your oil burner doesn't work. You know, you've got a landlord to go to. Here you don't. The mobile home that the lessee has, they bought themselves. Upwards of like the last lessee unit went for about $180,000, $190,000. You know, and of course now you sign a lease. You're stuck with the lease, and if you want to give it up, you just can't walk away. You can't give the landlord a 30-day notice. You've got to sell the place in order to do it. So it's a catch-22. It's a
lot
rough
of
situation.
responsibility.
And the board of managers at Montauk Shores will probably come after me now after this gets shown.
But you've probably seen such beautiful. You have such a beautiful view, and it's just.
Oh, we do. I mean, the sunrises, the sunsets, at night walking out there and seeing the Milky Way in all its beauty. It's beyond description. It really, really is. It's like going to church if you're down on the beach or on the bluff at sunrise, watching that sun come up out of the come up literally almost out of the ocean. You know,
Right.
a marvelous sight. It's
Right.
a marvelous sight.
What's the most unusual thing you've seen since you've lived there? Like, just in terms of
All
anything.
right, two things: a whale on the beach,
Okay.
and if you recall when you had memorabilia from the beaches or shipwrecks, when the Amazon wound up on the
Right.
beach.
Yeah, that was 40 years ago last year.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That was what, 18?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember coming out of the house, and it was a foggy morning. I hear this clanging sound, and I'm, what the hell is going on? And it was the metal stays banging against the metal mast.
And you could hear that it was like what, about 150 feet off.
It was at that point. It was maybe only about maybe 40, 80 feet off the beach.
Oh, wow.
At that point.
Okay.
And it was sort of jammed in the rocks.
Can you describe what you saw exactly? Could you see people on it?
Oh yeah,
And-
yeah. About a bunch of us walked up the bluff because that was the easiest way to do it. At that time, years and years ago, you could walk the bluff. Nowadays, you can't because the bluff isn't there anymore. But there, the boat was in the water. There were people on the beach. They went down there to see if they could get them off. I think somebody from the Coast Guard came down with a big life raft, which they inflated, pushed out there. And, matter of fact, the one woman who was one of the owners, I believe, of the Amazon, in jumping from the ship to the life raft, wound up by either fracturing her ankle or spraining it, one or the other. And of course, I'll get. Here's another. You might want to edit some of this stuff because I'll probably get in trouble from everybody now in Montauk. But we who were standing up on the bluff at the time marveled at, oh, here comes the Coast Guard, and they're about 8 of them are chugging down the beach, and they're carrying a litter. And I said, oh boy, this is pretty good. And they stopped in front of where the people had gathered who come off the boat, and then turned around and went back.
Why?
I have no idea. Maybe they didn't want to carry her. But they people on the beach finally hollered up to us who were standing up on the bluff. Can anybody come down and help us? And a bunch of us did. helped get the lady into the litter and carried her back, and then back to where there was I think an ambulance finally came in our property and picked her up. In the interim, the Coast Guard came with a truck with coffee and sandwiches, and again, here we go. Not for us, it was for them. But, you know, aside from that, believe me, the gang from the Coast Guard does a hell of a job, and I salute them because I've, you know, all the years out here involved with marinas and a whole bunch of other stuff, I marvel at the job they do. So this was just maybe one little fly in the ointment.
Well, I think that yacht, from what I've read, it was stuck out on the rocks for about a month.
Oh, at least that. They finally, and they couldn't tow it off. They tried a number of times with some rather large ships to try to haul it out. It was just jammed too well.
Right.
They finally got it onto the beach, and then it was a major deal to set up a sort of a dragging system to get it all the way down. And what it finally did, they finally got it onto a flatbed trailer where the old East Deck Motel used to be.
Okay.
That's how they finally, and then transported, I think, somewhere up to New Rochelle, the shipyard up there to be refitted.
That yacht is still sailing.
Well, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
yeah.
steel hull. I mean,
Yeah.
good heavens, it certainly should.
I thought it was great, though. I think it was your father who found
Yeah, my
it.
dad found a piece of the I guess like a fiberglass type finish, whatever it was, and he wound up by making a plaque on it, and he wrote on it Amazon with the date and the whole 9 yards. So we wound up by sort of semi-donating it to the library, and it was part of one of their exhibits.
Yeah,
as the sort of things found on the
Great
beach.
piece. I know, and Kevin McCann took a lot of photographs of that
Oh, yeah.
particular incident, and they're on his website.
Oh, yeah,
and,
yeah.
They're really wonderful. A lot of Montauk people that, you know, residents on the bluffs, and he has great pictures of people who were around then.
Oh,
residents.
yeah.
It's really, it's a really like great Montauk moment.
It
I
is.
think.
It is. It is.
Yeah, but I know that you also worked for Ed Miller.
At Westlake Marina. Oh, yeah, for
Right.
about 13 years.
Now, how did that position come about?
Well, I was retired from the Postal Service. I guess, you know, you never really stop working. Around about that time that I retired, which was 92, a very nice lady here in Montauk, Eileen Oliver, had the Beach House Motel and a restaurant. And for some reason, she got started with line dancing. She knew I was sort of by myself. She gave me a call, said, "Hey, come on down. You'll have some fun." I said, "Oh, okay, fine." So I went down there and got hooked.
Is that where you learned how to do line dancing?
That's where I first
Okay.
started. A very, very nice young couple from Rocky Point, who came out at Eileen's behest and taught us all how to do this stuff. Through that, I met a lot of people that I sort of like a glancing shot knew in Montauk. And one of them happened to be Ed Miller, and a couple of people who worked down here at the marina. And they said, "Hey, you know, we're looking for somebody." So I said, "I'll give it a try." And that was about 11 years or so, 11, 12 years out of my life that I enjoyed.
What exactly did you do for Ed Miller?
A lot of stuff. Worked in the office. We sold bait and ice and not fuel, because they got rid of the fuel business. Got to be too regulated.
Yeah.
And we docked boats and took reservations for the transients and gave fishing advice. And I'd fish with Ed.
You fished with him?
Oh gosh, yes.
Okay.
Quite. I mean, more times than he forgot more about fishing than I'll ever know in my lifetime. And we used to have marvelous times.
Where did you go when you went fishing?
Well, we go offshore, maybe for tuna, fish for striped bass, for fluke. He just loved to fish, and he lived to have somebody go with him. So maybe even a couple of times, you know, on a day off, rather than just sitting around doing nothing, he'd give me a call. "Hey, come on, let's go," and away we'd go.
What was the name of his boat?
To Westlake.
Oh, the Westlake.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, beautiful Duffy. I think it's about almost 40-foot, gorgeous boat.
Now, did he have a, like a party boat business?
He had a charter. He was a charter captain.
Charter captain,
Yes.
okay.
He was what they call a six-pack captain, which means that he was licensed by the Coast Guard to carry up to 6 people.
Okay.
And thriving. I mean, people just would call requesting, you know, a reservation on a Westlake.
Was he considered to be very gifted at finding fish?
Very, very gifted. Very
Okay.
gifted. And I
Okay.
think right now down at the Westlake Marina, there must be about 14 to 16 of some of the best charter boat captains
Yeah.
in the harbor.
Sure.
Good people.
Yeah. What was he like to work with?
Great. Oh,
Yeah.
what a guy. I mean, he tell you stories. He was I not mistaken. Now I could maybe be wrong, and I don't want to be misquoted, but he was. I think he was a pilot, or he
What
was
kind
a
of-
pilot. Yes.
Like an airline pilot?
Either an airline pilot, or he may have learned his flying skills maybe in the service.
Oh, right.
Which is
okay,
possible.
Right.
And he never forgot his friends, which was a great thing. And loyal, one of the most loyal people I've ever known.
Wow.
Really a great guy. And he's got a son and a daughter who are just the same.
Really? Are they also still in that business?
They now have taken over at the marina since Eddie passed away.
Okay. When did he pass away?
Oh gosh, I'd be lying if I said I knew. I'd say good maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago perhaps. But one of the nicest men you'd ever want to meet.
Yeah, I think speaks for a lot of the men that, and women who have gone into that business.
Yeah, well, not that so much, but again, we're talking about you're right, old timers, if you want to use that. Their ideas were different. As I alluded to when I was talking about the early days in the Postal Service, you had people who worked because they enjoyed working. They felt fulfilled at the end of the day.
Right,
It wasn't always chasing the dollar. That they would leave at the end of the day feeling that they put in a good day's work, and
Right.
that made them satisfied. I remember years and years ago taking a couple of little courses in psychology about needs, wants, and desires, and how each one opens up into the next level. You reach a certain level, and the next level opens up. Now you want to move to that one. And that's the way people used to be years ago.
Right.
I don't see that the way I used to see it, or at least I don't conceive that it's there the way it used to be.
Do you think that? Why do you think that is?
I wish I could tell you. People are now more chasing the dollar than any kind of other fulfillment. It's just that they've attained maybe their goal, and nothing else is going to keep them happy.
Well, a lot of people think that Montauk has changed drastically. Would you agree with that?
Oh yes, yeah, very much so. Only due to the fact that it's been years since I've gone to a St. Patty's Day parade, because I don't like the element that is in town at times. When you go into town, I can remember years and years ago going in there, and people would park on the green where the gazebo is, or is now. It wasn't then. That's how long ago that goes back. And you'd have tailgate parties and all this kind. Nobody bothered anybody. Everybody had a great time. A couple of people would have a grill going. They'd have a big cooler of beer, but nobody ever got out of sorts. An element discovered that, hey, Montauk is a party town. I'm going back into the 80s easily,
Okay.
long before you had some of your nightclubs out here, and
Right.
It's become a party destination. And people just went the heck with themselves, to the point that I recall, I think about the last Patty's Parade I saw people, throwing beer cans at the police. Now, I mean, you can't have this. The very next year, the Montauk St. Patty's Parade was like an armed camp. I never saw so many police, and armed people in all my life. It's beginning to settle down a little bit. I think they said the last Patty's Parade was very peaceful. It's
Right.
becoming maybe more of a family-oriented venue, the way it used to be. A lot of it could have had to do with the Long Island Railroad with their damned bar car. The fact that now on Patty's Day they don't have the bar car, and they schedule one or two of the trains to arrive in Montauk after the parade has begun, which is a smart move on their part.
Wow. Yeah, I think everyone says that has changed.
Oh yeah. Well, matter of
And-
fact, if the wind is blowing the right way now, in the summertime at night, you hear music coming from town. That shouldn't be. Especially the poor people who live close to, let's say, I'm not going to name names, but you know who you are. With the loud music and the bands and the people who look upon somebody's backyard as a latrine. You know, it shouldn't be. It just shouldn't be. Show some respect. You know, let's make Montauk great again. You know, to coin a phrase, and I'm not going to get into that one, believe me, but it's just something that should be considered.
One of the things that I think is great is that you teach line dancing at the library.
Yes, I do.
And what has that experience been like for you? And when did you start doing that?
Well, I started doing it shortly after we started in 92 is when we began, not teaching, but in 92 is when the whole craze began out here. It got very large. We used to keep looking for a larger venue because we used to wind up doing it 2 nights a week.
Right.
A whole bunch of people would come. We'd have little dances now and then. We book matter of fact, we used to book the hall in Polish Hall in Riverhead.
Oh, wow.
Because you needed enough room for everybody.
Right.
And it came down about 1 or 2 years after that. Someone asked from the grammar school, could we possibly teach the children a couple of line dances? The young lady they asked me was, you may have gathered I'm semi-outgoing, not overly shy, and I said, sure, I'll be happy to help. So we had a little boom box, and it grew into a partnership, which we maintained for about 4, 5, almost 6 years.
What do you mean by a partnership exactly?
She and I would teach line dancing.
Together.
We wound up by getting a bunch of sound equipment. I believe it was through Young Chris Fund at the time.
Oh, right.
And we began to teach. I did a program down at Hither Hills State Park. We did in the summertime. We go to Heckscher State Park. All this. We had a contract to do it like the state parks in the summer. And it just got to be a fun time.
What's her name, your partner?
Elise Prado.
Oh, Prado. Okay.
Bobby Prado's bride.
Oh,
Wonderful
okay.
lady. We had a lot of fun. I
Great.
pitied her at times because no, well, especially when we did the summer venue at Hither Hills. And the fun part about that is that it's a campground where every week there's all new people. Which is right up my alley, because I have some corny jokes. You know, I love to have fun, and they'd always laugh because every week I'm getting a new audience. They haven't heard this one before, you know. And I just felt sorry for poor Elise because she was stuck
Listening to
the same banter every single week until I guess it probably, you know, if she had a weapon she would have used it. But we had fun times. And the people enjoyed it. You know, we do silly things like the chicken dance and the Macarena and the electric slide and all that kind of stuff. And then I stopped. It got to be, you know, a little too much. She had a lot of other things to do, and I can't blame her for that. And lo and behold, a couple of years back, they were looking for something to do here at the library, and I spoke to Denise, who was the librarian, and she said, "Well, give it a try." And people came back; they seem to enjoy it. You know, sometimes we get half dozen people; other times we get 15 or 20. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it seems like in the summer you get a lot of people too.
Well, there are more people out here this time of the year. Even though we're talking about springtime in Montauk. The weather is turning, but yet there are still people in Florida who haven't made the trek back. Can't blame them because, I mean, there's been a couple of nights recently where my oil burner has gone on, so it's not really springtime in the Rockies
spring,
yet.
Yeah. You know, I wanted to ask you, were you in the military at all?
No.
Okay.
No. I was too young for Korea and a little too old with kids for Vietnam.
Okay. And how many children do you have?
I've got three daughters.
Okay.
And
what are their names and when were they born?
now you're really putting me on the spot. Let's see. Sandy, my oldest, was born in '57. Kathy was born about 13 months later. That would be 57, 50, maybe early '59. And my youngest daughter, Christine, was born about 8 years after Kathy.
Okay. Do they live in this area?
I've got one. My youngest daughter and her husband live in a mobile home park.
Oh, great. Okay.
They lived back in Queens, and then they moved out here. They sold their house back in College Point. My other two daughters, one lives in I think it's South Amityville on one of the canals, and the other one is very close by, within maybe a half mile or so.
Okay.
I've got 8 grandchildren and almost 9 great-grandchildren now.
Wow.
And please don't ask me the dates or the names, because I blow it for sure.
And where did you meet your second wife?
Right here in Montauk.
Okay.
As it was, I walked out my front door one day, and there was a young lady who was looking at buying a mobile home directly across the street from where I am at the time. And we struck up a conversation, and not to tell any tales out of school, but I met her on April the 18th, and I married her on May 20th.
Really?
Really.
Oh, that was a very...
Well, again,
Quick courtship.
one reaches a certain age where long engagements don't seem to be too great an idea, and you meet somebody who you say, "Wow, fantastic!" And I've never regretted a day. And matter of fact, we're almost ready to celebrate our 20th anniversary.
Oh, that's fantastic! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, you're a very lucky man.
So far, yes.
Yes. And she's lucky too. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it goes both ways. I just wanted to ask you, what do you consider to be the most beautiful place in Montauk?
I'm going to have to go back to something I said a little earlier. One of at least 2 things. Taking a walk late at night, more so in the winter because the air is clearer, and gazing at the Milky Way.
Right.
The other would be standing on the bluff just prior to sunrise.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And the other thing that even comes close, I guess, would be, I haven't done it in a lot of years, and I'll probably catch holy heck for it, is the Easter sunrise service at the lighthouse.
Oh, right.
You know, seeing the sun. But the last couple of Easter Sundays mornings, it's been cloudy and crummy, so they wouldn't have seen the sun come up anyway.
Right.
But that would be it. I mean, gazing at the stars and watching the sunrise.
Did you ever think you would end up living in Montauk when you were young?
Not really. Although it's funny, I had often had thoughts of maybe becoming a charter boat captain somewhere late in life. I never did it. But my recollections of when I was younger of Montauk itself, having come out here even as a little kid when I used to stay at my aunt's place in Rocky Point, we make a day trip out to Montauk, and I always sort of fell in love with it then. Didn't realize, I guess, the strong pull that it would have. Right. And lo and behold.
There are so many places that no longer exist in Montauk that were so iconic back in the 1950s and 60s. Some of them are still around, like Salivar's, even though it was under different management. I know you said that when you were fishing, you used to...
Well, we used to go to a little place called the Merry Mermaid, which was a motel down by the dock area. It's probably no longer there. And we get up maybe about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, go to Salivar's, grab a good breakfast. Those of us who could take a good breakfast and then going out on the bounding main, as they say, without getting ill. And, I mean, you walk right from Salivar's right onto the boat, which made great sense to me.
What time, like about 5 or 6 in the morning you're talking about?
Most of the boats would leave maybe around 5 in the morning, depending on where they were going. If they were fishing for cod, a bit offshore, they would leave probably at the very, very least 5 o'clock.
Okay.
If they were going to fish local water, let's say for striped bass or for fluke or something like that, they could leave a little bit later because the run wasn't as much.
Oh, okay.
You know, for codfish, you were talking a good couple of miles well off Block Island, which Cox's Ledge and places like that.
Did you have your own gear, or did you always rent the gear?
We always had our own gear.
Okay.
Once in a while, it depends if the captain thought, or the first mates on the boat thought that your gear wasn't heavy enough, they would suggest using one of the boat's gear.
Oh,
okay. Because I mean, a lot of us enjoyed the battle more so than the final victory, and you enjoyed watching the pole bending almost in half, cranking up a fish. But that was too time consuming a lot for the mates on the boat, and they wanted you to be able to crank them up in a hurry.
What was the biggest fish or the best fish you ever got?
I was fishing one time with my not late, but my ex brother-in-law, and I wound up with nice about 160-pound tuna.
Ooh,
which was a decent fish.
That's a decent fish.
Yeah. And I've gotten 25 and 35-pound codfish and a couple of 30-pound striped bass, some decent fluke over the years. But
Do you take them home and clean them yourself?
Oh yeah. That was one of the fun things I used to enjoy doing when I worked down at the marina for Ed Miller. Being a sort of a dock hand, a dock boy, even at my age, a dock boy. And we'd clean fish for customers.
Yes, right.
So you learn how to, quarter a nice tuna, all this kind of stuff. And slice up shark steaks and fillet fluke and all this kind. A lot of fun.
How do you prepare it for them so that they can take it home with them?
Almost all marinas have an ice house. Number one.
True. Okay.
We all fortunately sold styrofoam coolers, so you'd package it up in plastic bags. Suggest that they buy a cooler. Which wasn't that? I mean, styrofoam cooler could maybe about $5 or $6.
Yeah.
And with a couple of a bag or so of ice, or maybe a couple of pounds of shaved ice in there, along with their catch, and away they went. They were very. Some people wanted, like say striped bass, they wanted maybe steaks as opposed to a fillet.
Right.
So you cut steaks as opposed to a fillet. No, it's no big deal. Kept them happy.
I always think about that fish car going back into the Long Island Railroad, or going back into Penn Station after a day of fishing, when in the early days when the Sporties came out on the Fisherman's Special.
Yeah.
And what that must have been like when that fish car went back into Penn Station.
Well, probably a lot of snoring, because those are people who came out of the city very early in the morning. Those are back in the days when Fish Grilla was still around. That was down in Fort Pond Bay before the fleet moved into Lake Montauk itself. And they had to get up real early to get the train. The boats would leave very early. A day of fishing under the sun, and then packing out their catch, back onto the train. Most of them probably slept all the way back into the city.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, is there anybody in Montauk who had like a very positive or strong influence on you? Someone who's been, aside from Ed Miller, it sounds like he was a very good friend of yours.
Oh, he was a good friend.
But anyone else who gave you like really great advice, or anyone that you really sort of looked up to or had high regard for?
Well, a number of people in town who to this day I have a high regard, because they're excellent people. John Keeshan is one.
Okay.
I always liked John, respected him. We always had a great time.
Okay.
A lot of kidding around between the two of us. I like Marshall Prado. He's a straight shooter.
He's a great guy.
Matter of fact, the whole Prado group, great people as far as that goes. Chip Duryea, whom I got to know and have great regard for.
Definitely.
And there are others, I guess, along the line that I bumped into, but those are the people who really stand out in my mind.
Right. Is there anything else you would like to do in addition to the line dancing and everything else that you've done?
I'd just like to continue to get older. Stay vertical for as long as I humanly can, But nothing else really. It's
any words of wisdom for people in Montauk about you're very young for your age.
I was lucky. Great genes as far as goes for both my mom and dad. My dad was well into his 80s, as was my mom. My other parents, like grandparents, I lost at a fairly early age. But I can only tell people that take each day as it comes. Don't force yourself to do things you don't want to do. All you're going to wind up is feeling resentful. Or perhaps it's somebody who suggests you do something. Be your own person. That's about all I can tell people to do. More than that, I don't know. I try to live a life where I'm not hurting anybody, to my knowledge. I don't speak ill of anyone, or try not to anyway. If you step on my toes, I'm going to say ouch, and that's basically going to be it. I'm not going to look to hit you in the back of your head or something when you're not looking. That's not my way. And if anybody can do better than that, I open up the field to them. God bless them.
Well, thank you very, very much
Well, the pleasure's
for
been mine, believe me.
participating in our oral history interview. And your words are very thought-provoking, and you provide a wonderful contribution to understanding the history of Montauk. So thank you very much.
I thank you very kindly. It's been
thank
most easy.
Yeah.
I would recommend this to anybody. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you so much for your time and trouble.
Yeah.